We're on the dark side. You said the work was what? Dark?
The work was dark. I've never painted with black before, and both of my sculptures were completely black. So most people that meet me, they can tell. They know my work, and they always say, "Oh, the Cuban artist with the brightly colored flowers and people." And a lot of people know I show them vagina monologue, so you'll get these huge vaginas that are red and blue and green or whatever. But my focus for this show was about everything that's in politics, about Black Lives Matter, all lives matter, about unarmed men. If my focus had to deal with the Holocaust, my focus had to deal with slavery, everything that needed to be put out there for the world to talk about. So one sculpture had hands that were coming out of wood that can resemble the jail.
I wish baby girl could send that, bring that over to us, but it's too big.
Eden, can you grab my sculpture? Oh, it's in the car, actually. I'm sorry.
I thought it was on the wall.
No, that was the stomach. The one sculpture had 4 hands, and each hand symbolized something. One had to deal with slavery, and it had chains going around it. The other one had numbers written on the side with symbolizing tattoos of the people who were a part of the Holocaust. My family is Jewish, so that hits me heavy. Being tattooed and being recognized as just a number and not a person that's living with a heart. You just tattoo on a number on someone, and they're a number. They have no name. They have no identity. They're a number. What else was on there? Unarmed men. There was a hand on there with men falling off the hand, and I cut all the arms off because that's what's going on in society. African American people or men are walking around. They're unarmed, but you're killing them for what? Instead of taking the time to figure out what's going on, chasing them down, yeah. Handcuffing them, yeah. But why shoot them? Why kill them? Why just put them in jail and then all of a sudden they're dead the next day?
Now, I want to ask you, because I'm so happy that you shared that. That point where you started making that work versus the flowers, did you have a struggle when you knew the ideas and did you have a struggle in fighting? Should I create this type of art?
Oh yeah, because I was like, I didn't want people to hate me. I didn't want people to be like, oh, why is somebody putting this together? Why are we talking about this?
So why did you make the decision to go in that?
Because I felt it was important. Because I have a son who's 14, who's biracial, and when you look at him, you're not going to see a biracial child. You're going to see an African American child. No one's going to ask, oh, what are you? Before they pull a gun out and shoot you. No one's going to ask, did you graduate from college? Did you graduate from high school? Before they pull out a gun and shoot you. It's your skin, and that should not be the issue.
I mentioned that, because it's so important that artists realize that we're not in a position just to create nice art.
Yeah.
I mean, the flowers are beautiful and the sky is beautiful and the sun, but we have to begin to create art that deals with our reality in all aspects, in all artists, performing artists, painters, poetry, spoken word. We have to go there.
You have to.
And we can no longer struggle. We have to go there because it's the artist that speaks.
Yeah, and the piece was called Empowerment of the Mind. It's getting you to focus and think about the things that are going on in society and stop hiding them. And the piece that was on the floor was the Million Man March. And that came about after I created the piece. So I went out, blew up the sign, and I went to the toy store, picked up a little Million Men, glued them on the bottom because there was no coverage about the Million Man March. But you have coverage about every other thing that is negative. But the positive things you don't. It's just like, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. So that was the focus.
Doesn't make sense to a lot of us.
Doesn't. And the other focus of my piece was, 9/11. I understand what happened, and it hit my family because my godfather died in 9/11. But there was so much light shed on this. And every year there's a day of silence for it, and, everyone's praying around it. But what about the million people or the people who've been killed, unarmed, by cops? We don't keep figuring out a solution for that. We just let it go. We forget about it until the next man is killed or the next woman is killed. And then it just keeps going. It's a cycle. It continues. We're not finding a way to fix that solution. But 9/11, we figured out a way. We figured out a way. That's terrorist. It's a terrorist act. The same thing as what's going on with the cops. You're being killed for what?
And y'all thought she was a nice artist. So I know. We fooled you on part one, right?
Yeah.
She's coming out now. No, I love it, though.
So dark pieces, I had to do it. The belly piece, I have to do it.
Nice.
You know? And I heard one person, and I walked away from it, who said, I hope this is not an African American artist who made this piece, because it said all lives matter. In my eyes, all lives do matter. Black, white, Cuban, I don't care what you are. All lives do matter. And then there's a baby, and it said Black Lives Matter on the bottom. And the baby was being handled by a police officer. There was a reason behind that. And the belly had chickens hanging from it, pigs hanging from it. It had a black person, a white person. It had, and I hate saying black and white, because black and white are not colors. They're not. They're tints and hues that make something either lighter or darker. You know what I mean?
You can say that again.
So that's really what they are. We're not black, we're not white. What else was on there? There was a gun on there. There was a Jewish person on there. There was an Asian person on there. All lives matter to me. I understand the Black Lives Matter movement, and it means a lot to me. But for someone to say, why did this person put all lives matter? Because all lives do matter. And that's why I put on it. I'm a vegan. All lives matter. I don't eat animals either. So their lives matter too. They breathe. They have a heart.
Now we need a segment on the for vegan. She's something else, huh?
So there you go.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I like that you was taking a picture of my hands tying the noose, because that bothered
you. Yeah. See, there's another segment. Yeah, it did. And I noticed good art should touch you somewhere. Almost either make you stop and think or make you keep walking. Because you don't want to deal with what that art is representing or saying to you. And we were talking, we were saying you were setting up. And you were creating a noose. And actually, I could pull up the picture and put it on here as a B-roll. And you were pulling it. The tension was there. And I walked by you and I looked at it and I was like, ooh. And I kept walking. And then I stopped and I came back and I was like, you know what? That didn't make me feel good there.
And I said to you, that's the purpose.
Right.
And I had my wife sitting there and she was making nooses in the morning. She was like, I can't do this. She was like, this doesn't feel good. This doesn't feel good at all. But she was like, I love what you're doing. She was like, your work has changed, and I love this. I love what it's making me feel. She's like, but I can't make these. I'm sorry, you're doing it yourself.
Yeah, we can end on that. I think our art should make people feel, and not just make people always feel good, but make people feel.
Think.
Yes.
It needs to make you think.
Yeah.
And sit down and just say to yourself, wow.
Think and feel. But I like to feel because, we don't do enough introspection as individuals and collectively. But feel, because when you feel, it causes you to react, to do something. Even if you walk away.
Yeah.
But when you feel that art, you feel that image, or you feel whatever, and it's like, because then you have to think and say, well, why do I feel this way? And the mind comes into play where, oh, I feel this way because it's a noose, and I've seen a noose, and I know how that is related to my ancestors' neck and how I look around.
Yes. And that was the purpose of the two pieces.
And we're still talking about the noose. That's the power of art. All right, we're trying to leave. I'm not going to give another topic. I'm not going to go to the forefront. On our next. Peace. Subscribe. Follow. Share.